Yo, 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 it's your boy Mickey G, aka DG Buddha in the house. Wanted to do a little in the bag for you guys. Do the full version. Next time you're waging war on the course, got to bring some plastic soldiers with you. So this is what I'm going to be going to battle with. Got my boys here. We'll start off with the putters up top. It's got to be Warden's, classic medium, great grip. Used to putt with daggers. A lot more glide out of the Wardens. I'm hitting the front of the basket a lot less. Great for Annie, straight. You can still hyzer with it. Got a Warden that I'll be using for throwing too, little upshots and stuff like that. Anything I need some touch on or like a long turn off to the right, be also throwing a Warden for that. When it gets windy out there, I'm going to reach for my Cenas. This guy's great for any kind of putting situation over 80 to 100 feet. I know I can just glide it all the way up to the basket. And then the throwing putter is a Harp. I like to go backhand. It's the BT Hard Harp. I like to flick this a lot, throw backhands with it. Basically my upshot disc of choice. Anything more than 120 feet out, I'm going to reach for a Harp up to about 250 feet. If it's a little bit, like if I want to take some power off the Harp, I think if I get on the Harp, it might just be too much disc. You might see me throwing the Cenas as well, although this is primarily a wind putter or 60 to 120 foot jump putt disc is the Cenas. So those are the putters. Going to the mids right now, I got 3 mids in the bag, 2 molds, carrying Fluid Truth. This one is breaking in real nice, super gummy. They don't make the fluid anymore, so hopefully I'll keep this one out of the drink and it'll be with me for a long time. Great for just long turning shots. I really don't have to put too much on it on that hyzer angle. It'll still flip up, glide a little bit right for me, just finish straight, minimal fade. Got an EMAC Lucid Truth in the bag right now for when I wanted to have some more fight back at the end. Maybe the wind is kicking up a little bit. If the wind is kicking up a lot though, reaching for the Verdict. This is my version of a Buzz OS or a Stable Rock. Not quite as stable as the Drone, which I know some of you guys like to throw. Love the Verdict. Found this at a Play It Again Sports. Didn't even know really what it was because I was still new in the game at the time. Loved the way it felt in my hand. Couldn't walk out of the store without it because it felt so good. And then looked up and saw what it did later. And this one's been in the bag ever since. Took a little hiatus, but it's back now. If I want to try to get a little more distance on that Verdict will go about 300 for me. I'm comfortable doing it anything from 250 to about 310 if I really need it to, depending on the wind. If the wind's kicking up or I need a bigger finish at the end, or I absolutely cannot let the disc go to the right, I'm going to go ahead and grab the Spark. This is a Goldline Spark by Lat 64. Love it. It's starting to beat in for me a little bit, but still super, super, super stable. Hope to have this one in the bag all season long, get it beat in, and then maybe work another Spark into the bag next year, but we'll see how it goes. But loving the Spark. Anytime I want a little bit more distance and or stability and fade than I would normally get with the Verdict. Moving on to the second greatest forehand disc ever created according to Kevin. Got some Felons here. Got a Fusion Felon that I really like for backhands that I know I can flip up to flat, really get it going. It's starting to beat in real nice. Just ordered another one of these in the mail and felt it just for comparison, and this one's definitely more beat. It was in the bag all at the last half of last year, and definitely my go-to straight. I can get it to turn a little bit. This is Ricky Wysocki's forehand disc of choice up to about 400 feet. The most I can get with it is about 300. I really got to get on it until I get one a little bit more beat in. Got the Lucid version of it here. This one's going to be a lot more stable. It's going to handle better headwind. A little bit flatter profile too. Almost identical to the one I just threw in the drink in Fairfield 6 or 7. But yeah, just had another one. Put it back in. Keep them stable. Moving up into the long distance molds. My fairway drivers, be throwing a Convict a lot this year, a lot like a Thunderbird, not quite as glidey, but easier to flip and get it to move around a little bit. I'm not going to throw it into a headwind a whole lot. Taking a look also, anytime I really want to get glidey and flippy and maybe just big, long Anheuser turnovers and stuff like that, I'm going to be throwing the Escape. This one's got a really fun story where I sold it to a plate again, but it had my name on it. And then somebody bought it, lost it. Another guy found it, called me, and came and brought it to me up at Fairfield. So be working this in the bag. Sometimes I'll be throwing a St. Pro. Sometimes I'll be throwing a Falchion. But they're essentially doing what the Escape is going to do. So if I get to a point this year where I feel like I want to give this one a break, I'll work one of them other guys in the bag. Moving up to the next molds, I've got 5 more. I've got 3 Defenders. Got my Super Beat purple one. This guy is, I'm going to throw in a tailwind situation. It's also my absolute max distance forehand. I can flick this guy about 360, 370 if I just get on it and crank it and get a real good lick with it. It'll unlike a Felon or an Enforcer, which we'll get to in a second, this guy will flip up out of the hand straight, turn a little bit, and then still fight back at the end. And it'll be my Hyzer flip backhand disc of choice too. Is this purple one, the most understable one I have. I think it's a 169, but it's also the most beat. Then we move up to, and that's a Biofusion plastic too, so they beat in real fast. This is a 174 Biofusion Defender. This is the next step up in stability from the purple guy. Gives me about the same amount of distance. The difference is I'm really not going to try to Hyzer flip it flat. I might Hyzer flip it up to flat if I'm throwing downhill. I can get enough power on it to do that. It's still stable enough to fight me on that. And then those of you that are on the course this weekend playing saw me with the Fusion Defender, brand new to the bag, 173. Until I hit a few more trees with this bad boy, it's going to fly just like my Enforcers. But then I feel like once I do get it beat in, it'll eventually take it to the place of the blue one, but maintain the stability that the blue one's at for a longer period of time before it gets beat out. So this guy will still be in the bag, hopefully, much longer than the blue one and the purple one. And then I'll put another Fusion one in and just keep beating that one in. So down the road, it may be, 2 Fusion Defenders and 1 Biofusion Defender in the bag down the road. But until I've been playing with them for a year or two, I think it's just going to be what it is now. Next step up, got the Fusion Enforcer. This is one that I've been beating in. If I'm throwing an Enforcer on the course, I'm probably throwing this guy, really trying to get it beat and worked in. I got an EMAC mustache stamped Fusion Enforcer that's white, so it's not out in the snow right now. That was my most beat Fusion Enforcer that I had, so I've been really working this one in the winter, trying to throw it as often as possible, backhands, forehands. Enforcer is going to handle any headwind that I throw it into. The most this disc is ever going to do, even into a 30-mile-an-hour crosswind, if I'm getting that guy up and that crosswind comes underneath and gets underneath the edge of it, the most it's going to do is make the disc drift to the right. It's not going to turn. This disc is just never going to turn into a roller if I release it flat. So I love it for that. So that side wind where it's going to get under it, if I got a lot of side headwind coming at me, it's going to be an Enforcer in the hand. Straight headwind, same damn thing. In fact, with those side headwinds and those straight headwinds, the Enforcer is going to fly even farther for me than it will be on a calm day because I'm going to get that turnover assistance from the wind that I get there. But anytime I want a little bit more disc than that, I'm going to reach for the Lucid Enforcer. I don't expect this one to beat in too much over the next couple of years. I'm really planning on having this one in the bag as my go-to beefcake for the next couple of years. If it does get to a point where maybe it's getting a little beat in, it's not as flippy, it'll take the place of that guy, and that guy will move down a slot to my flippy Enforcer, which would be a super stable Defender, and then I can go, Defenders down the road after that. But that's basically the bag. So it's about 18 or 19 discs right now. It's 10 molds if you don't count the Cenas, 11 if you do. May work some other stuff in here and there. The Justice is a disc that I love a lot for situational spike Hyzers, and also the Claymore. In case I want a truth that's going to just turn quicker and faster, but without turning over into a roller. Anytime I would want a truth to do that, I would just grab a Claymore. But trying to rely on those a little bit less and just really getting to know my soldiers in and out, how they like to fight, what they like to do, what they like to bring to the table. So keep it simple, and keep on throwing, man. Do your thing. Like to see some in the bag videos from you guys. Let us know what you're throwing, what you like to do with it, and if you got any fun stories about any of the discs in your bag, let us hear those too. Deuces.